Hello and welcome to Alaska's Political Pipeline. I'm political reporter Will Courtney, and sitting down alongside me, gubernatorial candidate Michael Gilbert. Mr. Gilbert, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me on.
Let's start from the beginning. We asked all the candidates why they're running for governor. Why don't you tell me a little bit about why you're running for governor?
Hopefully to help change Alaska for the better, make a better future for Alaskans, and possibly help create a new pipeline with a federal government grant, maybe, or something along those lines to increase the permanent fund dividend, things like that.
Tell me a little bit about your background. When did you, or tell me a little bit about what you do for work?
Right now, I'm actually disabled, medically retired more or less, but I used to do personal care attendance. I also did a small bakery job, the Holiday Bakery, when they were around. I did product samples for club distribution services at Costco at one point, and I also worked retail at 907 Surplus. And then shortly after that, I actually wound up becoming disabled. So kind of trying to get back on my feet more or less, trying to get into like a different like frame of things, sort of like joining politics is kind of like a different change of venue. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do more or less.
When did you decide you wanted to run for governor?
Probably about last year or maybe a little bit before that. And the reason for that was because our current governor, Dunleavy, don't think has been in the news very much. I mean, I haven't really heard much from him, and everyone I've talked to, they haven't really heard much about him either. And I'm hoping to maybe meet him before I become governor, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. And other than that, pretty much, I mean, and like I said, I'm trying to become governor, trying to help Alaska out more or less, and trying to dip my foot into the political sphere, if you will.
What about the role of governor is particularly appealing to you, rather than maybe another area of government?
Well, state governor, they deal with both state and local politics as well as federal politics as well. And I figured it'd be a good way to get in the door, basically, for politics, whether or not in the future I might run for like state senator or um, like maybe I don't know, even like a presidential run or something eventually. I mean, kind of have things in the back of my mind I'm kind of just more or less working with. But
What?
yes.
No, you can keep going.
Oh, I was going to say, but otherwise, becoming governor, I figure would be a way to kind of look at all the issues in Alaska, from the homeless crisis, the housing crisis, SNAP and EBT needing to be reworked. Just all these little issues, and then also on top of that, like the gas and energy prices that we have that are going up, 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 up. I figure like we could build a gas refinery here in Alaska. It could be like Texas, where it drops the price of gas down. And if we build an export facility, that could also help refill the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, which I know is a national issue right now. So just little things like that I could potentially do as governor or help out with, I figured.
How do you feel your background could really make you a great governor?
Well, I have a lot of personal experiences with disabled people, special needs, the medical industry, things like that, and also with public relations. And I figured that could really come in handy for example, the news media, um, just dealing with everyone in Alaska in general, and hopefully being able to keep open a pipeline so that everyday Alaskans can actually contact my administration if need be to voice their opinions on issues.
What do you think the state needs right now when it comes to executive leadership?
Executive leadership, I'd say probably an independent minded, strong thinking, um, more or less, uh, like I would say, yeah, I guess independent, strong thinking leadership. Somebody that has a lot of public relations experience so they can relate to the public, somebody that can independently think for solutions and things like that for the state.
Absolutely. And yeah, I mean, we can really kind of just start pivoting over into policy questions. But before we do that, just my last question before we go into that, what ultimately made you decide you wanted to run?
Ultimately, I kind of saw like an opening coming up here in 2026, and I figured I'd put my name on the ballot as well as my running mate. Um, and like I said, I kind of was just hoping to like help out the state and make the state a better place for everyone, hopefully in the future, and to figure out solutions to things like the permanent fund dividend needing to have more revenue in it, and the state needing more revenue. Things about that nature, pretty much.
And you entered on the last day to register as well. Is that correct?
March 22nd, actually.
Okay, so earlier than the last date. Okay, copy.
Yes.
So let's move into policy. Why don't you tell me what your top policy issue is in this election?
My top policy, other than the gas pipeline on local level, I'm hoping to eliminate child support and alimony for all Alaskans, all Alaskan residents, and maybe even create a divorce tourism based on residency, things like that. Because pretty much almost everyone I talk to, man or woman, a lot of them have issues with child support, taking money out of their pocket that they could really use, to pay bills and things of that nature. And a lot of them are becoming homeless because of debts that they owe to the state. And some of them are even winding up in prison and things like that. And I figure, on the other hand, I potentially bring up legislation to introduce expungement to Alaska for non heinous crimes, things of that nature. Hopefully, clear up a lot of these more or less lesser crimes that people committed in their youth.
What particular crimes are you referring to?
Just lesser crimes like driving under the influence, because I know there's a lot of those up here. Smaller crimes like maybe an accidental shoplifting or something. Crimes that are more or less not moral turpitude crimes, like, for example, the non-payment of the child support because somebody got into debt or something like that. Just, little things about that. But things like assault, murder, things like that, those should probably still remain as kind of my position on that one.
Why do you think child support should be ended? I think there's a lot of people who would think that's a really valuable program for the state.
I believe it should be ended because there's a lot of people out there that get caught up in it, and it does produce some revenue, but I don't really see it like long term being too viable because, again, with the price of inflation on everything going up and up and up, it would help a lot more Alaskans to get them off of that and be able to not have to pay for that. And I figured that we could create like a different fund for the to supplement the child support, essentially. Not sure what we'd call it yet, but I've been kind of tweaking things in my mind a little bit as to how we could come up with like a different system for that, rather than child support just going and taking out of people's paychecks automatically and things like that. I know the permanent fund dividend, if they have one, typically goes to it, and that's essentially just the state paying itself if you think about it. So I figured that getting rid of the child support and alimony payments there could actually help out a lot of Alaskans, whether that be a husband or wife, or man or woman that might be backed up on their child support and things. I've actually known at least 4 women now in my life that have actually had to be paying child support and alimony at different rates and things like that. And it used to be at one point, I believe it was 55% or something like that of the paycheck would go to the debt for child support, things like that.
And then what about you said you wanted to lower the punishment of some crimes? Am I paraphrasing that correctly?
Yes. Well, expunge them if they've already served the time for them. The lowering of punishments, I don't know if that needs to be done. I'd have to look at each criminal statute in and of itself to figure out like what the uh, what the punishments are for the
Well,
crimes. But
I guess what do you mean by expunge then?
oh, expungement. Essentially, if enough time has passed from the time that you committed the crime with no further crimes committed, they could have like I said, smaller crimes like DUI, or like an old shoplifting charge or something like that that's holding them back from getting employment or something like that. They could have those taken off their record so that it's not like publicly viewable. It's essentially similar to sealing the record.
I
Because,
and so is the shoplifting and DUI the only charges you're specifically looking at? I guess I'm trying to get an
uh,
idea of what charges you're trying to expunge.
no, this would be like an example of charges. Like there could be like graffiti or things like that that could be holding somebody back. Um, Smaller crimes essentially.
I mean,
Like,
I don't have the law in front of me,
mm,
but I'm just thinking right now, like graffiti and a DUI are two very, very different things. Graffiti
yeah,
is something that could, just someone scrubs off a couple hundred
yeah,
dollars, it definitely could be a nuisance to a small business. But
yeah.
a DUI puts people at risk. It puts drivers on the road and pedestrians
Mhm.
at risk. So how do you kind of say
And
both of
that's,
those are smaller crimes?
well, DUI would have to be looked at individually. If it's multiple offenses, I'm not sure if we would have like a limitation for how many could be expunged, or if we would just say no to it. But DUI does put people at risk. However, some people, like maybe they might have had like a drink or two, and they're like 0.09, 0.10, something like that when they do the breathalyzer test, and then they have to be taken to jail for that, and then they pretty much have a DUI on the record. However, there's other people that are like, 0.43 or something like that. That I could see, it would have to be essentially on a case by case basis. So,
So it would be based on the legal limit.
um, more or less, I would think so. We'd have to finesse the whole system for expungement and things like that. But I figure with the legislature and everything, we could probably get something worked out for lesser crimes being expunged based upon what the crime is. But that's something I'm kind of like trying to work into Alaska to be able to help people get back to employment, get a job or a career going. Because I mean, they could have created this issue for themselves where they get like a DUI when they're 18 and now they're like say 25, 26 years old, and it's been so many years they have a clean record other than that one DUI holding them back from getting like say a truck driving job or something like that.
And I guess you would be comfortable with someone with with a DUI after 10, 15 years to be able to do a job that involves driving.
I would say so. I would even go as little as 5 years because, like I said, I mean, if they haven't get, if they haven't gotten a DUI in 5 years, they probably haven't been drinking and driving. They probably gone through like the ASAP program up here that we had, or Alcoholics Anonymous or something like that, and gotten the treatment that they needed. I figure.
Let's go into some of the policy issues that I was looking at.
Sure.
There's four that I have a couple of questions about. One is the cost of living. Obviously, it's very expensive to live in Alaska for a lot of different reasons. Almost always has, just because of the cost of shipping. But certainly, we're feeling a pinch right now with the decreasing price of oil and how that impacts our economy. So, why don't you tell me a little bit about your policy proposals when it comes to making sure Alaskans aren't feeling the pinch, uh, whether that's at the store, at the grocery store, or at the gas station?
Yeah, I actually had a thought about that, and I'm supposed to on the 10th in Fairbanks, I believe, meet with the Alaska Municipal League, which is business leaders and things of that nature. And I figure I could probably speak to them and see if it would be possible to, through tax incentives or something like that, to help lower the prices for Alaskans, and then also to hire locally if possible, as well as looking at some sort of maybe subsidy or something like that that we could do for the businesses to help lower the prices for Alaskans, as well as potentially, like I said, increasing the revenue for the state and increasing the permanent fund, which would also help put money back in Alaskans' pockets to be able to shop around with. And again, with certain Alaskans, with the elimination of the child support and alimony laws, you could potentially have even more money there to help stimulate the economy through them taking that money instead of providing it to the child support or alimony payments, spend it in the local economy to help boost the economy's profits and stimulation, things like that, essentially.
Hey, do you have an idea on how much money that would be for those local boroughs, for the cities, for the towns?
I believe it would vary. However, I believe that the last time I heard of somebody paying child support or getting child support, it was just getting $3,200 from four people, uh, four individuals, that is. And oh, what happened? Did I lose you?
No, I think I'm still here. Hello?
Okay, yep, you're still here. I just saw something pop up on my screen for a second. Anyhow, yeah, she was getting 32 or no, $3,600 from four individuals. So yeah, if you split that up, let's see, it'd be 1,800, so it'd be $900 per person, more or less, that could be spent in the economy instead of going to one individual for four children she had. And I actually spoke to her about this, and she said, yes, she likes to supplement her lifestyle with it, but at the same time, she'd be okay with the money being spent in the economy rather than just going to her as one giant paycheck, more or less.
Okay. And then you mentioned the gas line too. You said you had some thoughts
Yes.
on the gas line. Tell me about your thoughts on the gas line.
The gas line we have is aging. I know somebody a few years back, I can't remember exactly when. I know they shot a hole in it with a 30-06 when they were hunting for caribou, and I believe that got patched. That was kind of a small dip in our, well, I guess it wasn't really a small dip, but it was a dip in our economy's revenue because of the oil spill that happened from that. Um, I figured that if we create,
I'm gonna pause you. We don't have a
yeah,
gas line. Are you talking about the
oh, I
pipeline, the
was
oil
speaking of
pipeline
the oil
taps?
pipeline,
Okay.
yes, the oil pipeline. However, I figured if we get a new oil pipeline down to uh, where we need to get it to, and if we had a gas refinery, we could make gas for the local economy and also to help refill the strategic petroleum reserve, as I said before. And if we have an export facility, that's going to be needed with the gas refinement facility, and that could help stimulate our economy as well as the national economy potentially with the strategic petroleum reserve. And I figure that that could potentially bring in more oil companies to Alaska as well, who would then pay taxes, which I believe currently, when I last looked it up, it was 9.2% or something like that. So that could potentially be more revenue for the state right there if we create a new oil pipeline. However, we'd have to consult with those oil companies to see if they're willing to invest or if it's something that we'd have to file a federal grant for, because I know there's a lot of paperwork involved.
So you want to make another oil pipeline?
Potentially, yes.
But what about the gas line? I mean, that's the one that the lawmakers in Juneau have been talking about for several decades. They have this current bill that's been introduced to, reduce property taxes to get the gas line to become a reality. I'm not really asking about the pipe. I'd love to know about why we need a second oil pipeline, but why? My question is about the gas line, though.
Okay. Well, first of all, the secondary oil pipeline would be basically to get more oil for the state, oil revenue and things like that. Now, the gas pipeline, I did hear something about that, but it was many years ago, and I don't think they ever acted on it. However, as governor, I'd be willing to sign whatever paperwork needs to be signed to allow the gas pipeline to be built, because I figured that could actually help drop energy prices as well for like heating costs, anything that has to do with natural gas, more or less. And I'm not sure how much it would cost exactly. I don't remember what the numbers are off the top of my head.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop you again, Mr.
Yes.
Gilbert. The governor can't sign a gas line to be created. It's a private company that's being that's investing time to and money to essentially potentially build a gas line, but they say they need some really steep property tax exemptions where they're not paying property taxes to make the gas line actually happen. Are you
Yeah.
familiar about where the gas line stands?
Not at this current stage. Last time I heard of it, it was still in planning. I don't know if they ever brought it as a proposal or a bill. Like I said, it was many years ago that I heard about the gas pipeline, and I don't think they ever acted on it.
And that is correct. You know, they have been working to pass a plan, and they haven't ultimately been able to reach a decision on where things stand with the gas pipeline, with the S corp tax, with how much property taxes they aren't paying. I mean, I guess I'll just ask. I mean, you said the gas line was one of your top issues. You just said you aren't currently up to date with where the gas line sits. So why is the gas
Yeah.
line one of your top issues?
Actually, it's an oil pipeline I was talking about. I just said gas pipeline mistakenly, but the gas pipeline is a secondary issue that'd be kind of taking on. But currently, I'm unfamiliar with where the gas pipeline is standing as far as the pipeline they wanted to do. As you said, I think you said it was in Juneau, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I'm not
Well,
familiar with where the gas line is currently.
I mean, okay. There is no gas line currently. When I said that they were
Yes.
in Juneau, that's because lawmakers in Juneau are trying to get these property tax exemptions. I guess I'll quickly ask about the second oil pipeline. Why can't we just work towards getting more oil in the one pipeline that we've had that took years to make, and why do we need a second one?
Well, the second oil pipeline would help move oil a lot faster, and it would help increase the amount of oil that's being produced, and therefore it would actually help increase revenue through the oil taxes, I guess you say, on the companies that we tax it. I believe it was 9.2%. Again, last I checked. However, the secondary pipeline that we'd build would help bring in more oil for the state and hopefully increase the permanent fund and things like that. But also, the amount of oil being produced through the one pipeline is a decent amount. But if we had another pipeline that produced twice as much, and I don't think it's being the oil field is being drained anytime soon. However, again, I'd have to look at specifics, and I figure the companies that we hire to come in to do all this can essentially take a look, see if the secondary oil pipeline is viable or not, and then let us know. And if it is, like I said, we could have a secondary oil pipeline producing twice as much oil for us.
Let me ask you a few more different questions about some other policy issues. Public
Sure.
safety is really important. You
Mhm.
said you were calling from Mountain View. I live in Fairview. I know public safety, I see it every day, sadly. I'm
Yep.
sure you do as well, living in South Central, but there's obviously a lot of different public safety concerns, not only in Anchorage, but also around this very different state. So do you have any sort of solutions you have to addressing some of these very different public safety concerns?
Hopefully increasing the budget for the local police departments and essentially creating a substance abuse and treatment program because I know that that's a top issue, which is also in the homeless community, as far as I'm aware of. And hopefully, we can get something going to where we can get these people off the street and hopefully back into being a productive member of society.
What are your thoughts on ranked choice voting?
Ranked choice voting. Um, I think it's pretty good. Not entirely familiar with the process, to be honest, but I've heard of it quite a bit, and essentially it helps with the primaries and things of that nature.
So you're not familiar with ranked choice voting?
Not entirely. I've heard of it, but again, I'm not entirely sure of the process with that one.
Have you voted in an Alaska election?
Yes, I have.
So we've had ranked choice voting since 2020.
Hmm.
So I guess, you know, where are your questions about
That's
how it works?
yeah, that's probably the issue. Is I actually missed the 2020 voting that we had because I actually had an appointment that I actually had missed as well um, on that day. But also back in November of 2020, I believe. See, I think I was going to the wound center at the time, and the deadline I believe was November 3rd for that election, which is the presidential election, and I'd missed it, but I can't remember the exact reason why. I think it was because I had an infection going on, and I had to go to the hospital to get that treated.
And I'm really sorry to hear that.
Mhm.
What I'm trying to say is that we've had ranked choice voting since
Yes.
2020. So in the 2022 election, the 2024 election, we've had ranked
Mhm.
choice voting. Um,
Yeah.
and do you
And
have you understood how that system has worked since then?
like I said, not entirely, and that's because my grandfather was actually helping me when I went to go do the voting and stuff because I became legally blind around 2019, I believe it was. And so in 2020, 2021 in December, he passed away. And so he couldn't help me, any longer after that, obviously, to get to the 2022 or 2024 elections. So
Okay.
that's why I
And
didn't
and
attend
I'm
those
sorry to hear that,
ones.
sir. I'm really
Yeah.
sorry to hear that.
And the reason for that is also because when you go into the election areas, and I've had personal experience with this, you go in there, say, "Hey, I need help voting," and they say, "Oh, well, you're going to have to find somebody with that. Our poll workers can't help you with that." So
Uh,
that's another roadblock I hit.
Yeah, so I have a few more questions for you. Just to wrap up this interview. The first one,
Sure.
we ask all the candidates this: why should Alaskans vote for you?
Well, like I said, I'm looking for change, elimination of child support and alimony, potentially bring expungement to Alaska, maybe even a new oil pipeline if we can get that going. And as you said, a gas pipeline is one of the things that they're looking at. which again, I'd have to look at that one and see where that's going at. Um, Other than that, I have a lot of public relations experience, and pretty much trying to increase the rights for disabled people and the acknowledgments of them here in Alaska, as well as the elderly. And essentially, I'm looking to create a more public stance as a governor so that I would have more interaction with the public daily to help focus on individual issues rather than, just, leaving them on hold essentially when people call into a, like an office or an administration or something like that. Sometimes they get the runaround and then they're told to call different offices. Instead, I'd rather have them have a direct line if they need to that could be forwarded up the chain of command all the way to my office if need be as a individual Alaskan, which I'm not sure, but I don't think we've had a governor willing to do that before.
Uh, and why don't you explain a little bit about how you want to promote disability rights as well?
Disability rights. Well, I know for a fact that here in Alaska, as a disabled person myself, a lot of the programs are getting cut constantly, like SNAP EBT. They've dropped a lot of people down. They're miscalculating it. And I wouldn't put that on any individual person. That may just be the program itself cutting people's benefits down. But also, I know for a fact adult protective services, they're overwhelmed and they don't have the funding that they need to or the staffing. So I figured maybe hopefully get something going for more funding, for more staffing for them, or if need be, allocate their resources to local police departments to help with any criminal matters versus any civil matters that are going on, and essentially help protect rights for the disabled and the elderly.
Yeah, and my last question for you, sir, what does it mean to be Alaskan?
Strong, independent, hard thinking, strong willed.
Absolutely. Mr. Gilbert, I really appreciate your time, sir. Best of luck on your campaign.
Thank you.